As night fell, a lone street performer in a pool of lantern light raised her voice in song. In an inky pedestrian underpass, the only illumination was a flower seller's display of blooms, backlit by LED lights. Dog walkers carefully affixed glowsticks to their pets' collars. Passersby picked their way over rough cobblestones, wielding cellphone flashlights as they went. With winter's gloom beginning to settle over the country, Ukraine's capital is plunged nightly into near darkness by rolling power cuts meant to help preserve an energy infrastructure devastated in recent weeks by Russian drone and missile strikes. As the war nears its 9-month mark, President Volodymyr Zelensky has accused his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, of energy terrorism, trying to break his compatriots' spirits by plunging them into cold and darkness. Instead, morale has soared. On Friday, rejoicing broke out across Ukraine as a Russian pullback from the strategic southern city of Kherson, and the entry of a vanguard of Ukrainian troops into the city, marked the latest in a string of humiliating defeats for Moscow's forces. Although Ukrainian officials warned that it could take days or weeks to clear remaining Russian troops and booby traps, the impending recapture of Kherson, the only regional capital Russia had managed to seize, marked a historic day, Zelensky said in his nightly address. In Kherson, locals greeted arriving Ukrainian troops with cheers, tears and ecstatic embraces. Hundreds of miles away in Kyiv, the main square erupted in celebration, in darkness broken only by television news crew lights. Putin's government has alternated between declaring that the electrical grid that powers cities and towns is a legitimate military target and denying that it deliberately takes aim at civilian infrastructure. Kremlin-linked propagandists, meanwhile, have openly gloated over the prospect of sowing hardship in a capital that Russian forces tried and failed to seize early in the war, a city where life had resumed many trappings of normality in the late summer and early fall. Although civilian infrastructure across the country has taken heavy hits throughout the conflict, the campaign to starve Ukraine of power came to a head last month, with a blitz of missile and drone strikes hitting Kyiv and its environs. Nationwide, energy production capacity was cut by about 40%, leaving millions facing outages. In Kyiv and elsewhere, that has led to regular rolling blackouts meant to stabilize the grid. In some districts, scheduled cutoffs lasting 4 hours at a time leave people without power for up to 12 hours a day. Even in neighborhoods that have electricity, closed stores turn off their lights and extinguish most neon signage. Entire office towers and apartment blocks go dark. In many cafes and restaurants, dining by candlelight is a matter of practical necessity rather than romance.